Is that Yerushalmi Terumos? It's goes for our edition. We are right at the top of Daf Yud Ches Amud Aleph, and in the Vilna edition, we are on Tes Amud Beis. Twice as many blot in the article than there is in the Vilna. Yerushalmi Gulim. The second line. Yerushalmi Gulim. Second line on the Tes Amud Beis. Okay, let's find this in the Kabbalah also. And of course, we are still hoping that the schools from our learning should help for the Yeshua which we need in Eretz Yisrael for everybody who's Batzar Vashivya. There are two. You have two cakes of believe we're talking about specifically figs. Achas miktzos atami, achas miktzos atar. One of them is partially tummy, one of them partially tar. Ma'ashi chum is zelzek. You do chuma one or the other. He said you can only do tar and tummy when it's one eagle. But what about if they're both in the same status? Yebakada. Let's learn it like this. Like this case. Yeba means yeba. Right? It will be like this. Kiryim. He actually I want to point out something here. The Kabbalah says you don't have to be concerned that you might be mavish shalom and mukaf because you can connect the Torah in this to the Torah in that. In other words, you can't. It would be a problem to put the Torah next to the Torah, and make a mukaf that way. But the Torah next to the Torah, and that way, be mukaf won't be a problem. Okay, so that's not for here. Yeva kadah. He in front of shnei kriyim. He had two kreis, two piles of grain. Echad vishen miktzah trumas and ma'aser. One they took part of the trumas and ma'asers. Echad vishen miktzah trumas and ma'aser. One they took part trumas and ma'asers. Ma'al shitrum mizeh al zeh. And you take from truma from the chiyuv in the one pile and the chiyuv in the other pile. Do we say that since the second one is also partially fixed, so you might come later on if you can to be mafresh something which is something which is partially fixed to be mafresh take off truma something which is completely potter, which has already been completely meiser, or do we not choshev for that? That is the Kavanaki's pshat. I'm not sure if there's any other pshat here, which we should see. Yeah, there's a pshat. It's basically saying that, according to the article, says that since we say that since each one of the carrying are allowed to take off truma in order to fix the teva which remains in it, so therefore it's going to take from one kri in order to fix the teva which remains in the other kri. Or do I say since there are two kirim, so we have the standard isser of being also to take truma from one in order to fix the other, because it's shalom and amukaf. Okay, so the Talmid Rabbi Chia Rabba, Shulin Rabbi Chia Rabba. The students of Rabbi Chia the Great, Rabbi Chia Rabba is also often called Rabba in the Yerushalmi because he was one of the transition figures between the Tan and Amoraim, and he was also very holy. I assume that's part of it. They asked Rabbi Chia Rabba, Amaloni said, "Aksil chavekes yadav." The fool holds his hands together because he's lazy and doesn't want to do anything, and therefore he has to eat his own flesh. He has to cannibalize himself. So you did not learn with me enough that you know the answer. Had you been diligent in your learning, you would have known that the following statement. Ein tormin u'masrin mizeh al zeh. You can't take shumas and maasros from one on the other. So the Kavanaki says that the issue, just like you can't take Trumas and Maestros, actually, it's not, um, uh, you're not allowed to take off Trumas and Maestros one or the other. The Kavanaki points out that there's an issue that you might could be mafresh from an eagle which is kulotar, an eagle which is kulotame. So therefore, even though here each one was partially tar and partially tame, um, so there you can't. Well, actually, yeah, just like something which is partially the carrying, which is partially already truma and not partially. Uh, Actually, we didn't. Yeah. So Rav Shem Rabba said that halacha on the carrying, right? Just like you can't be mafish from a kri which is uh, part fixed, another kri which is part fixed, because either Shlom, either standard Mukov, or like the Kavanaki said that some other time might be mafish from a chiv al ptur. So because partially got mixed up between partially fixed and completely fixed. So from the case of that's even from the case of Kirium. So we apply that to our case and say that from Tame, once it's partially Torah and Tame, another partially Torah and Tame, you shouldn't do that because maybe next time you're going to be mafresh something which is completely Torah and something which is completely Tame, which is not allowed. Okay, Tanya, Reshavi minim harbe bekupa. You brought a lot of different types of fruit in your basket. Ukrumi amala, ukrumi lamatam, b'davar achabem. So there's cabbage on the top, cabbage on the bottom, and something else in the middle. Ain't tamid lamasi mizeh al zeh. You cannot take trumas and from the layer of cabbage on the top, a layer of cabbage on the bottom, vice versa. It's considered shlomin amukaf. Hada the temak shein sham halal. That's only if there's no hole through the fruit in the middle by which the upper cabbage could, so to speak, see the lower cabbage and vice versa. Then, yesh chalam maturim ma'asim mizeh. So that's I think it's in Bavli. I'm sure it's not in Bavli. Tiny, what was the Brisa? Ko beis hagronos echodu. The entire threshing house. It was a place where they threshed the grain. I guess they thresh it outside, or it's still called besa the gronos, or maybe it's inside when they're stockpiling them. It's all one thing. So, and that's Gemara explains. Case you had 5 heaps in the goren. Normally I understand goren to be a barn, but Beis Gronos is. So I guess Beis Gronos is not really a threshing floor, a threshing house. So I guess it's a place where they're stored after threshing, not before threshing. So you return from one on the because you can't take shumas and maises for threshing. So that nigma malachta. So you have 5 heaps in the goren. You take shumas one on the other on all of them. So it's consuming Yamukov. Tanya Amar Yehuda B'Hushetei Tfisas Hagoren Be'emtza. New concept. That should be a significant amount in the middle. Tfisas Hagoren. Significant amount should be in the middle, and everything now becomes like spokes on the wheel of the thing in the middle. Akdun Chitim. Okay, that works for grain, for the wheat. Vafilu kash, vafilu teven. So actually, I think it's a statement, not a question. It's even though it sounds like don't we have akdun, then I feel it's a question. But here it's a statement. Vafilu kash, vafilu et teven. The focal point in the middle does not have to be a pile of grain. It can even be a pile of straw or hay, as long as there's a focal point in the middle. What if you had a tame grain in the middle? So is that considered to be the spoke, the inner wheel which connects all the spokes coming out of it, or no, because it's tame and the other things are tar. There's no affinity between them. He said, "Is this considered to be connected? Literally, is it biting each other? It's not. So it's not. It's not. They're not combined because you don't want to combine them. If the Kamaraki says if they are touching each other, then that would work. But if they're not touching each other, there's too much of a um, uh, can't get the word disconnect between them, so the ones in the middle cannot serve as the one in the middle cannot serve to unite all the ones which are surrounding it. Now the Yerushalmi asked, "Chavraya bunkam Rabbi Yossi, who's a mappa b'emsa?" Now a mappa is a cloth, and the way the Kabbalokis learns, it's a cloth which is on top of the grain. So this separates each sector from each other because each one it seems to be covered independently. The art scroll says that it's like a mechitza between the different piles. So the question according to the Kabanaki, which is based on Marav Fulda, is does the covering of each one separate it? Even though it's the same house or the same area, it's not Mukov. According to Kabanaki, according to the article, does the mechitza separate each one from the other, even though the same household? That's the same place. Malone, so he said, the Rabbi Yossi said to the Chevraya, "V'aynu chamisha sakim megoren." It's no different than 5 sacks in a goren. In other words, where the grain is already in sacks. Sacks are no worse than a mappa. And the time chamisha sakim begoren, and we learned that if you have 5 sacks in the goren, termin masim zelzeh is considered meramukov and can take trumas and maisus from one on the other. Reb Lezer Mer Tormin. That's a header in the article in Kabanaki. Tanya, Rabbi, it says Rabbi Eloi, it says Kabanaki says Rabbi Eloi, this is Rabbi Law of Yerushalmi fame. Omer Shum Rabbi Lezer, Tormi min Torah ala Torme Belach. You can take Shuma from Torah and Torme if it is moist, if it's a liquid. Now the Ketzat, how does it work? Kavash Zaysim Betuma. You started pressing dates Betuma. Vurotza Toramon Betara, but he wants to take Shuma Betara. So Kamaraki puts the words here. Ketzat, so how does he do it? Maybe Mashbich. He brings a funnel. She'ain Bepiv Kibetza, where the whatever is at the mouth of the funnel is not a kibetza. So the also zaysim, and you fill it with olives, the nosna pichavis, and you put it on top of the barrel. It's a torah min hamukaf, and that makes it min hamukaf, the fact that it's the funnel holding the olives, and which is extended but to the top of the barrel. So the truma, the olives in the funnel are going to make tahar, because only a kibetza is mekabel to masoichlin, and and therefore the tuma doesn't spread. tuma doesn't spread up to the to the next olive. Uh, so the funnel has one olive touching the olives below. The funnel is tar. The olives below tame. It's been amukaf now, so you can take truma from the tar on the tame. So according to Avnagi, the bottom one does become tame. That becomes truma tmeya because it came to touch with the with the it touched the directly the the tame olives underneath. Since it's not a kibetza, it doesn't spread from olive to olive. Or the spread has to be a kibetza, but it does go to the olive, which it touches. Okay, so I'm not sure why you have to include that in the truma. Why can't you just take truma from the olive above that olive? Yeah, the article doesn't address that one. Um, but I just want to go through the kibetza issue. Uh, the it's going to come up again. So the Bnei Moshe says, "Mei mashish im b'kibetza ma'alozesim came to sefter l'chein l'kaman b'chala shimi apim k'mali beitzi tam mozesha mashmech me'azesim atmeim shekvushim b'chavis ksheyigu elu be'elu." He'll such like apim k'mali kibetza the posting kibetza ain't a makabel tuma. If it was kibetza, then the tuma affects the olive; it hits directly, but it doesn't affect the rest of the olives. If you had a kibetza in the kibetza can't be kibetza in the narrow part of the funnel. If there was a kibetza in the narrow part of the funnel, so then we're assuming all the olives there will become tummy. If you only have one olive if it is less than kibetza, so only olive on the bottom which actually touches the tummy olives becomes tummy. Okay, so the Gemara says, Lama li pachas kibetza. Why do you less than a kibetza? I feel kibetza. Even if it's kibetza, la pirudininu, aren't they separate? Right? So the olives are separate from each other. So even if some of them become tame, they're not going to make a betza, which is going to be tame others. Only kibetza can be tame others. I said before that only kibetza can be a kabel tuma. That's not true. Only kibetza can be tame others. I maybe slipped up on that. Only kibetza tame, so it's not going to be tame others because they're all separate, right? And we're assuming there's no mashke on the olives to connect them to make up a kibetza. So therefore, what's the issue? Why does this be less than a kibetza? That all the olives are separate, right? So then one not going to be tame each other because each one's less kibetza. So the more answers, kind of about this. Sholitamu zeisim harbi. Right, you only don't want a lot of olives to become tummy, right? If it's larger, then several olives will touch the tar olives will touch the tummy olives below. We don't want that to happen, so therefore we say no. So it's just making a mashbech, and only one olive at the bottom will be touching the tummy olives below. I think the sugya goes on. Yeah, we're going to go back to Rabbi Loi, Termi Belach. So, but in the meantime, presumably these olives are lach because they are they have moisture on them. And that's why the Gemara immediately says, Amrlo, next on Amrav, Amrlo, Chacham said to Rabbi Loi, Ein lecha kori lach, el yaim Hashem avad. No, it's not called lach. Lach is wine and oil. Olives, even if they're moist, they're not considered to be lach. So this is we have to find a different case. If you want to say that you can be torn from Tomei Balach, we have to find a different case, and we're going to discuss a different case. But that is the top of Yud Tes Amud Aleph, and therefore we will stop here.